Hi, I'm Mark Scherer. I'm the CEO and founder of Encompass Life and the host of the Encompassing Life Podcast. And today we have Tim Richardson, and Tim is in Oregon. He's a CEO and founder of Acorn Dentistry for Kids, and they have 6 locations. And he's growing. He keeps growing his business, and it's a very niche focused business. We're here to find out what has him become successful and what does he love about his job, basically, because I know there's got to be some love there to have the business grow like it's grown for you. So, Tim, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
You're welcome, sir. And so, just saw a cat walk by. Um, so you've been in business, Acorn Dentistry for Kids, for how many years now?
It's been going on 8 years, just about 8 years. Yeah.
So 8 years and 6 locations. That's pretty aggressive growth.
hmm
So
Yeah.
how did you find the niche for you to be able to expand so quickly?
I'm familiar with the area. I grew up about an hour north of where I do now live. Worked about an hour south of where I currently am before I got into starting this business. And so I was familiar with the need and the lack of access to good quality pediatric dental care. And I didn't realize how much of a need there was. And so I a little bit knew what I was getting into, a little bit lucky, combination of the two. And so we opened, and from day one, I had families coming from more than 2 hours away to come and try and find a good pediatric dentist. And so it covered a large area. We've just been growing to try and accommodate it.
Wow, an hour or 2 hours to go to the dentist.
Yeah.
That's like West Texas, man.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah,
but you're in a pretty
it's
populated area though up there.
somewhat. I'm about an hour south of Portland. Salem, Oregon is the hub or the region where most of our offices are. But it draws from an hour and a half out to the coast, an hour east going up into the mountains a little bit. And then the Willamette Valley between Portland and Eugene is about a 2.5 hour stretch going north-south. We're right in the middle of that, and there wasn't much in between Portland and Eugene, so hit it just
Gotcha.
right.
And how'd you come with Acorn as a name for your business? I was like, okay, so what is this about?
Yeah. Yeah, I like to use names that really represent what we're trying to accomplish. And being in the Northwest, I wanted something that was nature related, plants, animals. Um, and so I just opened up the dictionary and started with A, hoping that I could find one that started with A, because on provider lists, it goes in alphabetical order. So it helps to be at the top of that list. And I figured aardvark is great for a listing, but doesn't really apply to the Pacific Northwest. A lot of people don't know what aardvarks are here, but got to acorn, and it really spoke to me because it is nature related. It's something that represents something that's just at its early stage in infancy, and if given the right amount of nourishment and attention, can grow into something really quite incredible, strong, healthy, beautiful, and contributing. So, acorn it is.
Awesome. Great story, man. And did you work for other dentists when you got out of dental school, or did you just
I
go straight
did.
into?
I did. Yeah, I did dental school and then a residency for pediatric dentistry specifically for 2 years, and then landed in Eugene, worked for another doctor who had three other offices, and I came in and opened the fourth office under his ownership and ended up purchasing that practice less than 2 years after it opened. And became a business owner sooner than I was anticipating, but it all worked out, and added another clinic a year later, added another clinic a year after that. And at that point, I got burned out because I did not know how to run a business
Mm,
effectively. I was trying to be the operator as the doctor in the chair and run the business, and did not know how to build a team effectively. Didn't I knew how to hire people and fire people, but not necessarily how to train people and trust people. And it was a lot. And I ended up selling and restarting now with Acorn Dentistry for Kids. So this is kind of a round two for me this
mm.
time.
What was the pivot point in you moving from an operator to a business owner? Because I imagine a lot of dentists are facing that as well.
hmm Well, that first experience with those three offices, by the end, I realized I need to do something different. And I wanted to create a business where I could work in the chair if I wanted to and as much as I wanted to, because I do enjoy doing the dentistry. That's why I got into it in the first place. But I also wanted to be able to have a little more flexibility and freedom with my schedule and with my personal life outside of work, and knew that I needed to find a healthy balance.
Hmm.
And when I opened my first office in March 2017, opened my second office in June of 2017. It was just me working both of those clinics. I started looking for some mentorship and found a great group, a mastermind based group called the Dentist Entrepreneur Organization. And
Mm.
I've been a member with them for several years now. And that's provided the insight to look beyond around the corners that I couldn't see myself yet, knowing how to plan and strategize for the future based on where I am now and where I've been in the past.
Mm. I think sounds similar to, you ever heard of Vistage?
Yep. Yeah. Similar.
Yeah, where you get a bunch of people in a round table and everybody works in everybody's business and kind of
Yeah.
rotate. Yeah, yeah, it's just
Yeah, it's a great, very vulnerable, humble group of doctor entrepreneurs, dentist entrepreneurs, along with more formal structure like conferences and expert webinars to go along with it. But it's largely a peer-to-peer learning process.
hmm awesome. Yeah, I just visited, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago, I guess.
Mhm.
Got a lot out of it, and the events too. They had when I was bringing great speakers and
Mhm.
got to learn a lot. Cool.
Yeah.
So, what had you get attracted to pediatric dentistry?
Well, that was a little bit of a surprise for me during dental school. I started dental school planning on being a family dentist. That's what I grew up going to. My parents went to the same place I did. And about halfway through dental school, I found out that pediatric dentistry was a specialty, and just realized as I got to know more about it and did some observations with some private practice pediatric dentists, I realized this really is what I want to focus on full time, and made the decision to do a residency and spend a couple more years to be able to be even more fulfilled the rest of my working career. But the thing about working with kids is the procedures are simpler. The treatment is faster. Typically, it's a higher volume than you would see with adult dentistry. It's more focused on the experience that you will provide for a child, where you know how so many adults have fear and anxiety going to the dentist, and statistically, over half of those people, it's because of a very difficult
Childhood,
or traumatic childhood experience when they were at the dentist. And
right,
that stays with you the rest of your life.
right.
And I wanted to be able to have a positive impact early on in a child's life that's going to set them up for success moving forward. So a lot of what we do is making dentistry fun for kids, making it exciting, making it not feel like you're at the dentist as much. With the environment, they come in, we have a little child door next to the adult sized door when they
Oh,
walk in
how
the
cute.
building. It looks more like maybe a daycare type setup in the
Uh-huh.
waiting room than a dental office. Toys and arcades and movie, and it's kids cry because they don't want to leave. That's what we're
What?
trying to accomplish here, and we see it. We've been compared to Disneyland a little bit here and there along the way. We put TVs on the ceiling above the chair, so when they lay back, we put the headphones on and they just check out into their movie.
Yeah,
And it's amazing how much more cooperative kids are when they're on a screen. We know this. And
yeah.
sometimes that can be a little too much, but in this context, we feel it's a great distraction in order to make it more positive at the dentist.
Wow. Yeah, I was like, so this guy must like being around screaming, crying kids, and and then you said, yeah, we have screaming, quiet, screaming, crying kids. when they're when their parents are trying to get them to leave. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. They say, I don't want to go home. I want to stay here. Or they're leaving out that little child door and they say, Mommy, when can I go back to the dentist? Can we come back tomorrow? And that's not
Oh
something
my
you usually
God, dude.
expect when you're going to the dentist.
Man, you reframed that excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, I
So that
remember
is
going,
really, really fulfilling to be able to have or be a part of that
yeah,
transformation of that whole experience for a child. And then you think, all right, now their trajectory moving forward, they're more likely to go to regular preventive dental checkups, routine checkups and cleanings, which is going to help them be healthier over their lifetime. It all
yeah.
starts at that first visit by their first birthday is what we recommend. And just make it fun, make it easy, simple, fast, entertaining.
So you have kids coming to you by their first birthday.
Right.
So
Yeah, you
what type of procedures you do on a 1 year old?
well, we start with what we call a lap exam or a knee-to-knee exam with the parents. So the child's in their lap, they lay them backwards into our lap, and we just do quick brushing just to acclimate them a little bit, look with the mirror, um, apply a fluoride varnish to help prevent cavities. But we do see cavities on 1-year-olds, unfortunately,
Really?
and quite often. Yeah, you would be shocked at how much tooth decay there is in these infants and toddlers, even.
I knew. I know a mother who would fall asleep while her baby was nursing, and they since she got basically tooth rot from falling asleep with milk
Yeah,
in her mouth. You know.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you go to bed with a bottle of milk or juice or even soda pop, in some cases we hear this. But yeah, anytime you're sleeping with food or liquid coating your teeth, it stays around a lot longer while you're sleeping. That can cause cavities very, very quickly.
Right.
And for some
Wow.
reason, 1-year-olds don't want to get their teeth brushed. Shocker.
Yeah. What a surprise.
hmm
So, what other services you offer? Do you do orthodontics as well, or?
We don't. We just focus on pediatric dentistry, and it's a very, very different patient flow and business model. Some people do combine the two, but we realize that we can do more good, um, increase our capacity more for primary care,
Mhm.
get kids healthy, but we have great
Staying,
relationship with
yeah,
orthodontists.
staying in your lane and staying and doing it well.
hmm
Awesome. So, what are your plans for the next 5 years?
Well, so we have 6 locations now. We are currently working on our seventh location, opening first quarter of 2026, and then tentatively working on our eighth location to open later in 2026. So we're always looking at what the need is, looking at do we have the resources and capacity to meet that need and expand into other areas that don't currently have enough access.
And with the clarity of passion you have for your vision, bringing people in should be pretty easy. I would think. I mean,
It varies.
anybody that's
It
leaning
varies.
toward pediatric dentistry, they go, "Oh, these just go talk to these guys," you know?
Yeah. I do have a lot of those conversations when I explained, how we're taking care of kids, which is not specifically unique within pediatric dentistry, but we definitely do a good job with the patient care and the relationships with the parents. We involve them very much compared to some other offices. So we build relationships of trust with the parents primarily. Um, but it's tricky because we're not in a large metro area. We're close within, going out for an evening into the city, into Portland, or a weekend trip. It's close enough. But so many of the young doctors out of school want to be in the big cities, and it can be a little bit challenging to recruit to the smaller communities, even though, again, we're within a short drive of the bigger city. So that's a challenge. Also, Oregon is not a highly populated state, and so we have a lot of doctors that go to school in different areas around the country and want to go back to their roots to settle, and have a lot of conversations with doctor candidates who say, "Wow, this sounds very utopic." That's a word that I
Mm,
hear. It sounds really good, but you know what? I talked about it with my family, and we decided I'm going to go back and be closer to home. And so that happens quite a bit. But for those that truly are looking for a good opportunity, patient care, team culture, we haven't touched
Mm-hmm.
on at this point, but that is a big draw for us, specifically for doctors. We
Mm-hmm.
also offer ownership within our group to doctors, so they can also invest for their future while taking care of these kids. The business opportunity, the career opportunity is fantastic, but just has to still be aligned with their outside of work priorities.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the area you're in, what's the population of it?
Oh boy. So the Salem, Oregon area specifically is probably around 250,000, maybe
What's
getting
that?
up to 300,000. So it's not tiny. But we have one office that's in a college town of 60,000. We have one office that's in a really small town of about 10,000 in the town limits. And and so it's a little bit of a variety, but it's not a big city metro area, that's for sure.
Yeah, still 250, 60. Those are nice. I mean, 250 is a good sized town.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I lived in Jacksonville for a while. It got too much traffic. It's the largest town in the U.S. geographically.
Okay.
It's way spread out, traffic all over the place. There's really
Yeah.
not a big concentration of high rise like you would have in a lot of towns, and it's just
Hmm.
it's just flat and spread out. And there's a lot of water going through the town, so you got to drive
Hmm.
drive 6 miles across a bridge, and then
Yeah.
so geez. I moved to a little town called Ocala. It's probably I choose no, maybe 70,000 here, 65 something. Nice, slower pace. It's similar to the town I was raised in. I like it.
Hmm.
So and
Yeah.
love
My wife and I, we love the small towns. We like knowing our neighbors.
yeah, me too. So what are your long-term goals with your business?
I'm going through a little bit of a transition right now. I would say our business is going through a little bit of a transition, where I am currently fairly full time in the doctor chair, seeing patients. I am transitioning out into more of the CEO slash chief growth officer type roles,
Hmm.
where I'll be working as a doctor 1 to 2 days a week just to stay up to date and fresh with that and be able to support doctors more effectively by living what they're going through. But mostly it's the leadership development is where I'm shifting more of my focus. I do a lot of that now, but not as much as I need to if we're going to have this organization be a healthy, thriving, self-perpetuating entity. We've got to take more time to work on the business, not just in the business.
Right. Yeah, it's just like you've done some of Michael Gerber's stuff.
Yep, exactly.
And have you read the E-Myth by any, I mean
I
the E-Myth,
have.
yeah, E-Myth, and how about you read Traction?
I have. Yep, both have been extremely helpful for me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
Traction
that
was like,
was
oh, that makes sense, man.
yeah, that was part of my transition. I realized I was trying to be the CEO and the COO, or integrator was what
Right.
Traction would call it. I'm very much a visionary. I'm not a great operator on an organizational level.
Mhm.
I just have the ideas. I want to get started with the ideas and
And then
be
somebody
able to
else. Yep.
pass it off to somebody else to implement and carry it through. And now that's one of the main differences between my first three clinics that I sold and restarted. And now I do have a leadership team that I started to develop a lot earlier than even most other organizations would, because I knew that I couldn't do it all by myself. And I needed to surround myself with people that had different skill sets and even different personality types than myself, so that we
Mhm.
could cover all of the needs of a growing, fast growing organization.
Awesome. Well said, sir. Well said. Are you still taking leadership courses now, or are you like you continue on
I,
with your
I
development?
do. I mean, I'm always into that, formal or formally and informally. I'm a big Simon Sinek fan. Read everything about him, listen to him regularly, use video clips with our leadership training on a regular basis. The Dentist Entrepreneur Organization, honestly, is fantastic with leadership development. and being able to provide relationships with people that have gone before me in their career trajectory and business development, and get mentorship that way.
Hmm.
So it's a combination between that as well as just the self improvement opportunities I seek out.
Yeah, super valuable service, man. Awesome. Um, so are you planning on selling your business as you grow older, or selling it to your employees, or
Yeah,
what's your exit?
yeah.
I mean,
The
you're young. You got to be in like what, your 30s or 40s still,
I'm in my 40s. Yeah.
don't you?
Yeah, the goal from the very beginning was this to be perpetually a doctor owner group practice. And what that looks like moving forward into the future is a little more of that question mark, where I thought we would have more doctors wanting traditional ownership. That has gone down in the last decade or two, where a lot of doctors, it's just not as important to be in an ownership position. And that's why you see a lot of these big uh, kind of corporate type
Yeah, yeah.
dental groups popping up, is because there are doctors that are okay with that and
Hmm.
don't want the responsibility of the ownership. So there's something for everybody. But for our group, we're specifically looking for ownership minded doctors. I now have two partners in the group, and they share a lot of that organizational leadership workload, specifically with the doctor mentorship. And we have a handful of other doctors currently working with us that some from day one, they know, like, yep, I'm here because of the ownership opportunity. That was one of the top priorities. And we have some that are of the opinion that, maybe in a few years, I'm happy where I am right now. I have other priorities. Life is good. But in the future, I think I would like to get into some ownership. So it's a little bit of a mix there, but the intent is for it to be doctor owned. And as I step away from the day-to-day involvement, be able to continue to just sell my ownership to other younger, newer doctors.
Hmm. And stay and keep a piece for mentorship.
Exactly. Hmm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean,
awesome.
I've worked hard for it, and it'd be nice to continue benefiting from that a little
Yeah,
longer into my lifetime.
yeah, that's beautiful, man. I love the way love the way you got things planned out. Beautiful.
Mhm.
And what does your wife do?
My wife works extremely hard. She has been a stay-at-home mom since we've had our first child, and does it extremely well. And honestly, I wouldn't be able to do what I do in this capacity nearly as effectively if we were both working full time and trying to split responsibilities. So I
Right.
worked on business
Or
and
come home and here's a whole bunch of drama.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, there's
which
always drama, right? You just pick your drama.
right, right. Yeah,
Um,
but it's yeah, to have somebody who's a really strong partner
mhm,
is really key for success, man. Because you
absolutely.
can, if there's no refuge at home and you're working,
Absolutely.
man, you gotta have that place to quiet down,
Mhm.
take a breath.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but she's been doing some life coaching. She got into that a few years ago, and as our kids are getting older, our youngest, we have twins that are in kindergarten right now, and as they're getting older and she's getting a little more flexibility with her schedule, she's been able to help quite a few people one-on-one. It's specifically young mother coaching, that phase of life that is
Mm,
so exhausting and joyful all at the same time. She's really doing a great job in impacting some lives in that capacity.
awesome. Maybe if you do the next call with you, um, bring her on and we'll have a call about coaching.
Oh yeah, that would be great. She
That'd
would
be
love that.
that'd be a hoot. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. So,
Mhm.
um, what's the best way for people to connect with you?
Oh, I dabble in social media.
Or
It's not
for
something
people
I
to find the perfect location for them to take their kids to,
for
to
oh
take.
yeah, so for the dentistry, yeah. So Acorn Dentistry for Kids.com.
Hmm.
Super simple. That's our website.
Do you
has
have
all
any
of
you
our
have any
location
specials
information.
for when people get to come in and get to know you, type of a special, like come check us out, and y'all do that, or how what's your
Yeah,
onboarding process?
yeah, for you mean for patients to come in
Yeah,
for their first
yeah,
visit? Yeah, we do have an electric toothbrush that we provide for new patients, and
cool,
we see kids up to 12 years old for their first visit.
awesome. So, I mean, this sounds great. They got their own special door. Kids don't want to leave. And parents are going, shit, they don't want to leave the dentist. But it's awesome. So,
Yeah,
somebody really takes care of your kids, somebody has a passion for it. Check out Acorn Dentistry. And I do have dentistry for kids. And I do have one question for you before you get off the call.
sure.
What do you love about life, Tim?
Oh, just all of the opportunity that it provides. I love, especially the day and age in which we live, um, the area in which I've been able to grow up. Have been very privileged and very blessed, and being able to offer that to other people as well is very fulfilling, whether it's through work or through religious affiliation, of which I'm a part of, through the community in which I live. There's so much goodness to be found and so much opportunity to create experiences for other people that they might not necessarily be able to have for themselves. I just love always looking forward, looking into the future and what the possibilities might be.
Awesome. Well, Tim, thank you so much for being on the show. And I look forward to seeing you again, sir.
Thank you. This has been great.
You're welcome.